We are live.
Namaskar and welcome to the Fogsi podcast. I'm your host today, Dr. Kiran Pandey, Chairperson Medical Education Committee, and today we have with us two legendary figures. Our guest, a truly extraordinary, a teacher who has crossed oceans and cultures to bring India's timeless wisdom to the modern world. Acharya Jonas Massetti, lovingly known as Swami Vishwanatha, is one of the foremost global ambassador of Vedanta. Before I begin introduction of our guest and our dialogue, it is my privilege to introduce and acknowledge the leader who guides Foxy with vision and commitment, our president, Dr. Sunita Tandulwadkar. She's a pioneer in the field of infertility, IVF, endoscopy, a teacher to countless students, and a compassionate
Kiran,
healer.
no, don't waste time on my
Ma'am, just
introduction.
okay,
It's
ma'am.
honor to have
Just
Panditji.
two lines, ma'am. Madam stands as a beacon of inspiration, blending science with service, leadership with humility, and innovation with compassion. Her hands have healed, her words have taught, her vision has built, her spirit has brought a legacy of care, a promise so true. Dr. Sunita, we are grateful to you. It is under your inspiring leadership we are honored to have this podcast. Thank you, madam, for giving us this
Thank you.
opportunity.
Thank you, Kiranji. Thank you for lovely words. And thank you, most important, thank you for getting Panditji on our platform. I just see Vedanta, you are promoting it. I always felt we are so fortunate to be born in India because we have such a rich culture, unparalleled to anyone. No one can imagine, it's unbeatable, and we are very fortunate. But sometimes I feel those people who don't understand the Indians, our powerful history, are real unfortunate one, and those who are born outside but are working for the Vedas, for our culture, promoting it across. It's one of the best thing one can have. So it doesn't matter, sir, you have shown whether you are born in India or outside. What is important is you are imbibing that Indian culture, the history, and you wish to promote it to the world. I feel so honored to even meet you virtually, sir. And I always join at 8 o'clock to show my deepest respect to the faculty who is taking out time for Foxy and who is there on our podcast series, which we are now nearly 265. What is your number, Kiran, today?
Uh, my number is, I think, 265.
Vedanta, she also
Yes,
has
ma'am.
got
Fifty
the
ninth.
Yes,
259th.
ma'am. 259.
259th. So thank you, background team. You are so amazingly beautiful, fantastic, always there for us, and you keep on doing the counting, which we have become countless now. And such a rich culture, such a rich material we have gathered, sir, over last 250 days, where the people like you, the best of the faculty globally or from India, they come, they guide us, they talk on different topics from politics to social to academics to everything on this earth. And I'm sure, Kiran, your podcast today will be absolutely great to listen. Though, unfortunately, sir, I have to leave the platform, but I'll be watching both of you from a viewer's link and I will enjoy. But definitely looking forward to meet you sometimes. You are, which city you are living in, sir?
I'm living in Rio de Janeiro, in the mountains, in Brazil.
Thank you. And there in that mountains you are. I think, you know what, with the social media, with the podcast nowadays, everyone, and I'm thankful to those people who are doing a podcast because there are many podcasts which, talk about Mahabharata, Ramayana, Vedanta, and they are good speakers who are giving knowledge for the next generation. Their parents may not know, but these podcasts teach them what is our history. It will be lovely to hear about you before I leave. Yes, Kiran. You
Yes,
can introduce to everyone in the world. I have received it on your information by Kiran sir, but I think it's a privilege to listen to from Kiran and let everyone know what you are.
thank you, madam, for very kind words. It's my really privilege to introduce our guest, Acharya Jonas Mesiti, lovingly known as I told, Swami Vishwanantha, is one of the foremost global ambassador of Vedanta. He's born in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. He began his career as a mechanical engineer, an army officer, and later a successful entrepreneur. But life called him to a deeper path, and he spent years in India under the direct guidance of Pujya Swami Dayanand Saraswati ji at Arsh Vidya Gurukulam, where he immersed himself in Vedanta, Sanskrit, and Bhagavad Gita. Returning to Brazil, Swamiji established the Institute of Vishwavidya, which has now grown into the largest Vedanta institute in Latin America, reaching more than 250,000 students worldwide through online platforms, retreats, and lectures. He is also a filmmaker, author, and host of the well known Vedanta Cast podcast with over 1,000 lectures. His non profit initiative, Pequeno Toiba, nurtures indigenous heritage and creativity among children in Brazil. For his immense contributions to literature, education, and cultural diplomacy, he was awarded the Padma Shri in 2025, one of the India's highest civilian honors. He has also been recognized by the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji in Man Ki Baat as ambassador of the Vedic tradition in the America. Swamiji's work truly bridges Brazil and Bharat, ancient wisdom and modern challenges, spirituality and daily living. It's our honor and a joy to welcome you, Swamiji, to the Foxy platform.
It's a
Thank you. Lovely to know you. And I'm so glad that Modi ji, who is also epic of spirituality, has acknowledged you. Even we at Foxy, we have a program called Arogya Yog Yatra, where we are visiting the 12 spiritual places of India. May it be for Muslim, may it be for Sikh, may it be for Hindu, and may it be for Christian. We are going, we are visiting, and we are promoting spirituality in medicine. We are promoting to our gynecologist, saying that don't think I, me, myself, think that he is the creator. He is working through you, and the miracles will happen. And also to the patient, to show the respect to the gynecologist. You can see I'm working still in the operation theater. We have worked 24 by 7 as an obstetrician, and sometimes some mishaps happen, but it is beyond our control. It's a destiny of the patient. So we always believe in spirituality, and today's podcast, I'm sure it will be the great. In fact, on 31st of every month, I take the podcast which is on teachings of Gita.
oh,
So we have completed seven adhyay, and now we will be moving on to the next. So teachings of Gita is every 31st of whichever month we are. So lovely meeting you, and looking forward to see you one of the time physically. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Madam, when we were busy, I was telling Swamiji that our president is very spiritual, and we have a we had an academic, spiritual, all journeys together this year. We were lucky to have you as a president.
Thank you. Thank you, dear.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. So Once again, I welcome you, Swamiji. And as you know, today's podcast, which you have selected, there is no successful stressed person, a wisdom perspective on how Vedic knowledge can transform well-being. Now, this sentence itself, that there is no successful stressed person, is a very powerful sentence. So, in today's world where achievements often come hand in hand with anxiety and progress sometimes overshadows peace, this conversation definitely invites us to pause and ask, what does truly success really means? So, it is I would like to know how uh, this start with our conversation with this, that how your career, which was faced in the outer world as an engineer, as an army officer, as an entrepreneur, what happened? How this journey of inner world started? Definitely, this will definitely help our audience to think about it and go deep with it.
Sure. Before I start, it's okay if I chant a mantra?
Yes.
ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तं वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् श्रीजगन्मातरं देवीं स्थितधिपद्मकासनं हृदयसागरातीतं गोमतीं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम् Now I'm ready. So, um, when I was in my 20s, early 20s, I was a mechanical engineer. I had just started my own consulting company. I was working for the financial market and different companies in Brazil. And my company was going very well. I had many employees, and I would say that I was having a good life, as what people would say. But at the same time, there was a cost that I was paying. I had a lot of anxiety. I was, stressed out. By those time we not have this concept of burnout, but I was somehow in a high level of stress and working with people that were very effective, productive, and have a lot of success in life. So I would look to my clients, and they were very powerful people, and but at the same time, they were somehow miserable. They were struggling. They were having conflicts in their homes, conflicts at work, and the equation was not making sense for me. I was looking to life the way it was supposed to be. I had everything that life, that society has told me to have: a car, money, an apartment to live, a good job, people, fame, everything. But at the same time, there was an emptiness inside. And I could see that those people that were ahead of me, they were also not fulfilled. So I entered a crisis. Like, what is the purpose of this that we are doing? Because if I go on this path, I will become one of them. I can end up with a lot of money in my bank account, but I will be a poor millionaire, a person that has everything, but at the same time cannot say that I'm happy, I'm in peace, and I made it. So by those times, I was not a religious person at all, but I did pray. I did a prayer for the stars by the window of my room. And on the next day, I got this desire to learn about yoga and Vedanta. And I never saw yoga in my life. My family did not practice yoga. I'm from Brazil, another country, but this desire was in my heart. And I started looking for it. And then I met an Indian guy that has just recently married a Brazilian girl. And he was a yoga teacher and also a Vedanta teacher. And that's how my path started.
Oh, quite interesting. Like some you had that desire, and some type of person met you. So probably it was the grace that.
Yes.
So what does actually truly mean to say that a stressed person cannot be successful when you say it? Or I can say how Vedanta redefined the idea of success
Uh-huh.
in today's fast-paced world.
Yeah. So when I met this guy, my my mind started to undergo a change of values, a change of concepts about what is life, what is success, what is to work, what is recognition. And I know that there was a Purva Janma karma being unfold because the moment I met him, I became vegetarian without knowing anything. Just it was just in my heart. So something was unfolding, and at the same time, I was reflecting about what was life and what we were doing here. And what I could see, doctor, was that we as human beings, when we put effort, we become very capable and intelligent. But this intelligence is faced towards outside. I am a very good surgeon, I am a very good engineer, I'm a very good accountant. But we don't use this intelligence to become a very good person. So the point is, if I'm a very successful person, probably I have discipline, I know what I want, I have a sense of purpose, but I have not stopped to think that the purpose for everything that I'm doing is to be a happy person and to be a peaceful person. And for that, I also need to put effort. So we would say that like a person that uses all his intelligence to achieve more objects, it's how I say a kripanaha, a greedy person. It's a person that is not really using his resources for what really matters. So the successful person should also be a spiritual person, and then you can have a complete life. Although it's going to be only on the material side that you have success, but in your heart, you're going to be suffering.
So true. Like it is said, like when a child is there, the child can laugh innocently on anything without any worry or without anything. And when we grow up, we become, as you said, materially, we are rich or we accomplish something, then we have to make efforts to smile.
Exactly.
And through that innocent smile goes. So you really had that reason. And as you just now said, I'm surprised, and I'm really feeling good also that you also believe in karma, and you believe in the punarjan, that the life. So I mean, quite you have that. Probably you had that inner desire from inside since beginning, which material.
Yeah,
Very, very nice. I mean, this.
yeah. I just realized this, many years later after my pursuit started, I understood all these things. And what you're telling is very true. Like a child on its innocence, everything is simple, spontaneous, and you are happy everywhere. It does not matter how much your family have, where you're going to play. You can play in the street, you can play at home, any place.
Correct.
As we grow older, we become complex people. We start to use our intellect to establish if we are receiving love or not, if we are receiving respect or not, instead of using our heart. So, on this process, it becomes very hard to live because you depend on interpreting people's action and words to establish if you have a value or not for yourself. So, what we say is that You need effort to become a contributor to society. You need to put effort. You need to learn. You need to overcome, all the vegas, all the movements that have inside the mind to be able to become productive, but also to become, how I say, a mature person that is able to live happily with your own self. You also need to put some effort. And this was supposed to be the spiritual part of life that our ancestors would have naturally on their normal way of life. But for some reason, on the today time, the spirituality became a complement for life and not part of life itself. So now we have to wake up to the fact that we have to clean our emotions, that we have to understand more about who we are, to bring awareness about our emotional mind, awareness about the purpose that we have. Because if we don't do that, we are going to live a life trying to prove to people that we have value, prove to people that we are lovable, instead of understanding and being that lovable person that we are.
Very true, very true, very wise words. So, according to Vedanta, if we say that, then how should we define the success? Is it achievement, contentment, which you say, happiness, or something deeper?
Sure. According to the Shastra, we can say that the concept of success has to evolve during the four phases of life. On the first phase, that we are like students and we are learning, to be a successful person means to be able to follow the rules where we were born, and to do that happily. If we are able to do that, let's suppose our parents tell you have to study and pass an university. If you pass the university, you consider yourself a successful person, living a happy life. If you are like struggling at home in a dysfunctional home, then you cannot say you are successful. But if you have this minimal family stability and you are able to achieve what the parents tell you that you need to do, you consider yourself successful. On the second stage, where the grihasta responsibilities, the household responsibilities come, to be a successful person means to be able to bring stability, financial stability, emotional stability, and the stability in terms of presence. Because the family, it will only grow when there is, let's say, consistent presence of the parents, of the children, of the elders. So once you are able to, let's say, bring together all these people and make them work as one unity, then we say that this is a successful person because it's working, it's contributing, it's also nourishing a child, it's also taking care of their parents. So this is the second phase of success. But once we go on this second phase, there will be a moment where we understand that unless I become a better person, all my children will inherit from me the pain that I received from society, from family, from all these things. So it's not just more about being able to sustain a family, but it's to be able to get rid of the pain, of the hate, of the anxiety, of the depression, of the alcoholism, whatever thing is coming through the family, I need to put this out. So then we are going to say this person, was not only able to function in life, but he was able to level up, to become a better person for the next generation. So this will be the third. And then the fourth, is when we understand that the happiness that we are looking for is not going to come from objects or from compliments that people will give or recognition. It can only come from an understanding about myself with myself. Then, on this last stage, a successful person is when he wakes up to be a spiritual person. But we have to be very careful because when we say that we wake up for a spiritual path, many people think that they have to give up their families or give up their dreams, and that's not what we are talking about. Is understanding that it's not about where we are going to reach, but the path that we are going through is what really matters. In the end, a consistent relationship, good quality relationship with people is more important than the result that we are looking. Not that the result is not important, but if I get a good result and in the process, all my relationships, family, they're all destroyed, then there is no meaning for life.
Correct.
So that is like the concept of success.
Very, I mean, beautifully described. If this is what is happening in this modernized world, that people are running after the money has become the mark or the criteria of success, and which ultimately doesn't give you anything in that process of running and reaching there. If you leave your relations, if you miss everything else of your parents and society, you miss them, then really not to say. Well, Swamiji, these days, like when I remember when we were students, we never heard the word. Of course, in exams, etc., we used to say that tension, there is a little tension. But this, in these days, I think every person feels even as a mark of success that they are stressed. But what is I mean, why they have normalized in this modern world stress? As far as my small intelligence goes, this stress is not a normal word. So, what is your opinion? Uh, what is this? I mean, do successful people should have stress always, or they can achieve it without that?
No, actually, stress will work against success. There is a point where the stress will be so high that you start to commit mistakes, we start to put the wrong energy in the projects that we are doing. So we cannot even say that for you to become extremely successful, you need to be able to deal with stress very well because it's expected to have difficult situations and challenges. So this ability to deal with the stress, it's something that is very important for us to understand and to nourish and to understand how to get it. So this is something also that the youth nowadays they don't understand. They are so focused in the result and to be able to survive, sustain themselves, get a good job. They don't understand that it's not just a matter of having a skill. I see many students they are studying and learning many things, but they are not able to deliver as a person because when they have to show what they know, they become so anxious. When they have to talk about their mistakes, they will be loaded with self-judgment, and they are not able to communicate properly. So there is one human side, that a spiritual side actually, that we have to look upon it. Think about if a person is very stressed at work, what she will say, oh, I need some break, I need some vacations, I need to stay at home for a few days. But when the person is at home, he is not going to be sleeping all day. He's going to do something. And sometimes he's going to organize his whole room. Maybe he's going to the gym. Maybe he's going to work out. Maybe he's going to spend the day talking to people in the phone. But that actions, the day will be full also. But those actions is not going to cause stress on him. Why? Because when he's organizing his home and he may work the whole day cleaning, cooking, whatever, there will be no sense of, how I say, the need to prove something to anybody there. There will be no one judging him. There will be no second opinion about what he's doing. So actually, when the person wants to go on vacation, wants to stay at home, what he's doing is not doing less. He's just removing himself from this situation where he cannot handle the opinion of other people. So if I'm able to build, a strength inside of me and understanding about myself, where the opinion of other people are not attacking me, then I can be in a place where people have different opinions and I can have my vacations there. I can go work in a place because we may think that a doctor in the hospital works a lot. But a mother at home taking care of a child works a lot also. If you need to clean a house, you have to work a lot. And anything that we do, we work a lot if we are serious people.
Yes.
So, what we need to understand is how this external world is stressing me out. It's not because of what I do, it's the way I have established my relation with the world.
Yes. Very important. I mean, like we are all the time being governed by the opinion of others, by judgment of others. Every time we feel that they are judging us. And that, as you say, affects our actually capabilities, and then we are not able to actually do the correct thing which we want to do, or what is our potential, real potential. It's
Is
very
it?
important. And Swamiji, this also happens like in healthcare professionals.
Uh-huh.
We are all the time dealing with the miseries, with the diseases, with the problems. So we all the time remain stressed and sometimes even burnout. This is the new word which has come to the world. So, how can Vedanta help help us, I would say, actually, to help the society to stay calm in such stressful situations, and where we have to serve others, where our decision to treatment, our decision of doing various managing the patient depends that we remain calm all the time. This is more important. Only then we can serve others. So,
Uh-huh.
how Vedanta can help us and how we should achieve do this?
We should understand that there are two basic sources for stress. There is one stress that it's like related to an emotional trauma, a certain way we are raised, certain sentence that we have heard when we were young. Maybe, we have parents that pushed us so hard that we don't feel that we can, for example, take a break. I know many professionals that they don't take a break because they say their job is very hard, but it's not that the job is hard. Because if they want, they could take 30 minutes and calm themselves and go back for whatever they are doing. Some people that work until 12 o'clock at night, every day, and they say that they must do it, but actually they have a trauma at home and they cannot be with their family because of an emotional problem. And they think they are working a lot because they are hard workers, but they are actually running from emotional traumas. So the first thing we have to understand is my stress being created by an emotional trauma? What does this mean? Am I telling myself a lie that I'm telling this to myself for such a long time that I start to believe that I really don't have time, or do I really don't prioritize that? Or I'm running from something that I'm not aware in the first moment. So there is an inner work that should be done. In the case there is an emotional trauma, this has to be talked out. You need to talk to other people, as a normal human being, vulnerabilize yourself and understand that the emotions needs to be expressed. Only when they are expressed, they can be understood. And only when they are understood, you will have calmness again. So this is the first type of stress. There is a second type of stress that comes from lack of self-knowledge. What does this mean? It may not be a trauma, I'm just working, doing my best. But at the same time, I'm trying to control the result of what I'm doing. Even like a surgeon, he can do whatever he needs to do the best of his practice. But the person that is lying down there has his own karmas. And there are many things that we don't control. So I can do my best, but I cannot control the result that is coming for me or my patients. So if I don't have this spiritual awareness, I will start to feel responsible for everybody that pass in my office. But that's not true. I'm not responsible for them. I can only contribute on the best of my knowledge and effort with what I know. But each one has to go through with which one has their own karmas. So this is a stress that is coming from lack of spiritual awareness, lack of spiritual knowledge. So, and for that, we need to study. And that's where the Bhagavad Gita and all the Vedanta texts come in hand to show, to give clarity for the mind. This is my role. That's this much I can do. This is not in my hand. And when I don't know something, that's not a reason for shame, because I'm a human being and I have limited knowledge. If I am honest enough to say that I don't know, I can seek help. And I don't enter this position where I become like without a direction to go, I become lost, with a responsibility on my shoulder. Nobody here is lost. Everybody has a role to play. So this awareness, has to come to the mind. Then the person will work stress-free.
Correct. Everyone has its own karmic role and the result for which this happens in the initial phases. Like with every patient, if something goes wrong, we start feeling that what we have done wrong or what we could have done. Of course, that is also a part of learning. But you're right, we can't blame all the time. Then we will not be able to work very well.
Exactly.
So, s- can you tell us some practical Vedanta tools or practices which we can do daily and which can help us in keeping ourselves, like some morning routine, small, which we can do all the time and help us remain calm in the such stressful situations, and when the patient comes in emergency or something, then we are able to deal with it.
Sure. So there are three types of sadhanas, like practices that we can do. One is called puja, the other is called japa, and the other is called pranayama. They are very powerful and they have to be used in different places. The puja is the moment of prayer. So whenever we are going to enter something that is very critical, and we invoke the grace of the Lord, so that we can do our best, but at the same time we can be inspired and we can understand what is not in our hand. So this is that moment before we eat a meal where we pray, or the moment before a surgery, or a moment that we have to talk to some family members of a patient, and we have to give a very difficult message. And before we enter that, we do this initial prayer. It's like a puja. You can do that, with an altar. You can have even a Ganesha in your office, and it does not take 1 minute for
Yes.
you to connect with yourself and start. So this is the puja. The second one is japa. This japa is the repetition of a name, that is in a mantra like Om Namah Shivaya. And the purpose of doing that is to initiate in the mind a self-cleansing process. So this japa is meant for you to do by yourself, not at work. You can do at work, but you should do alone at your home. Let's suppose the day is very stressful. So you can arrive at home, take a bath, and do a japa session. And this japa session will help the mind to release the energy that was stuck there. Because like during the daily life, I cannot release that energy. And I become tense. So I enter meditation, invoke the grace of the Lord, do japa japa, né? Om Namah Shivaya, 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 gracefully. And the mind will start to spit everything that was stuck inside, and the thoughts will go away. You just bring the thoughts back to the mantra. So this is the second practice. And the third is the pranayama. And the pranayama is a very effective way that will bring your nervous system, in place, in a very quick span of time. So we know this basic pranayama of doing deep breaths, but if you take the correct guidance, you can also do some pranayamas where you breathe deeply like 20, 30 times, and then you just hold your breath, for as much as you can hold. And then you do another cycle, and then you do another cycle. And what will happen is that you are going to create some peaks of hypoxia, of, the system will feel, oh, there is no oxygen because you're holding. And all the cells will inform the central nervous system that we need to recalibrate. So it will reset, your system. So this is also something that we can do, and it's a wonderful cleansing process. Deep breaths, and holding the air, holding your breath, let's say no air retention.
So, whatever little knowledge I have, I try to do the pranayam daily, like this Anulom Vilom, we call it, and Bhastrika or Prantkat, so many, the Brahmari, etc. So I think so they do this breath work, holding the breath and exhaling out, holding and then exhaling it out, definitely controls the thought process and helps our nervous system to cool down. I think this message should be, audience should take this message from coming from your mouth. They will definitely, it will give them a more,
And it's important to say that to do a pranayama properly, it's good that you find like a guide that
yes,
can help you, because it can be dangerous also. So simple things you can do by yourself, like taking deep breaths to calm down. But if you're going to start to do retention and all, then you need proper guidance.
yes, all the things these have to. But very beautifully you have explained, like what I personally just have a feeling with this. We do also puja daily, but generally the younger generation, which also called Gen Z or something like that, they take it in the view of like orthodox things or blind faith. But it, what I personally feel, that it is giving you confidence or the trust or a faith that you will be able to work nicely. So that is more important than saying anything. So what do you think about this?
Uh-huh. Yeah, in the West, I would say that it's more easy in some way to tell this to the youth, because uh, they are not like immersed with all these different types of religions, and this they are more in a practical mindset, so they don't have so much resistance. So I try to explain to them that it's not a matter of religion, it's a matter of spirituality and objectiveness. We don't control everything. Like the old philosophers, they would keep, on the table a skull, like a human skull, no? And to remind them, that life is, short, and we are going to end up like that, everybody. And now all the society values are turned towards materialism and not spirituality. So the youngsters, they don't see making sense for you to connect to something higher, a higher order. But this is about to change, because all this energy that is coming and the connection that is happening, once the youth in India understand what the youth in the West is doing, they are also going to join, not only a religious perspective, but from a spiritual point of view. You know, if if we can help this person with a prayer and not only our skill, why not? We should do it, And if you have a doubt if a prayer works, okay, so let this doubt be there, and let's life now show how there is much more than a material world around us. So this is like spirituality now is becoming alive again. We are able to see, not only to believe, but to really see in our daily life spirituality happening. So this is coming.
Yeah, religion is absolutely different thing. It's a spirituality which should be the way of life, one can say, and that's very very important. So, the self awareness as taught in Vedanta can transform the way we experience work, relationship, and responsibilities. You have been guiding 250,000 students. How do you feel they do? I mean, what do you feel the hope of the future that they will have this, they will take up this spirituality in their living way?
Oh, they are definitely, it's growing more and more. We started in Brazil like 12 years ago. Now we are in the US and different countries. What we see is that uh, I think people were so much in the West deceived through religion and spiritual practice that they created a resistance. But once you show spirituality in another angle, with freedom, with a sense of a bigger purpose, people slowly open themselves. And once they try it, once you taste it, and you see that something that is not like restraining you, but giving you superpowers, as I used to tell the youth, then they welcome it very much. So we have like people expect that the students in the West, they are all old people. No, they're all young, the 20s, 30s, they are all young people studying, learning the Gita, learning Sanskrit, doing meditation, and say, but why they are doing that? Then do they have a religious background? No. They just understood that they can live better if they meditate. They just understood they can help a person better if they pray. The prayer has a strength and they are able to recognize it.
Yes, that is the most important thing. The inner calm which they must be achieving by this. And I think it should increase or improve their performance, productivity, even in this high pressure professions. Like every time, the world is it's a high pressure work all the time. So this is further becomes important. Like I said, doctors, professional, even engineers, entrepreneur, the corporate life, everyone is having the emotional fatigue, you can say. They work whole day. As a doctor, I see my patients. They don't have time for anything.
Yes.
Since morning, they're working all the time on the laptop working something. There's no life. There is no, as you said, no family life, no social life. They're not enjoying work, and then they get burned out.
Yeah.
That is what is happening. So I'm sure what you are spreading, the Vedic knowledge, should help them, and the messages, so the world can become in these times specifically. Do you think like the world is under all the war everywhere, the something, I mean, the crime rate has increased. The every time you take the newspaper, you hear bad news always. This has been done, and that fraud and everything, the cyber crime, what not is there. So how, I mean, what is our future, do you think, as a person who's mastering the Vedanta and teaching everyone? This becomes very important. This must be coming to your mind also, how to help these and how to help the world.
Yeah. What I understand is that like we are going through difficult times and times where it's becoming evident for everybody the ignorance that as human beings we carry, you know, like even towards Mother Earth, towards nature, towards society, like people fighting and fighting for, you know, things that does not make any sense. But at the same time there is, you know, a financial, a power struggle behind it, you know. So all this scenario is what is expected in Kali Yuga, that's true. But also we have to understand that we are going through also a unifying spiritual process, because technology now is allowing us, you know, to connect from different places. And first we connect materially, and now we are connecting in terms of thoughts and intentions. So you see how many people, different people in Brazil, is now connected to the Vedic culture. And like the Vedic culture, there are many other cultures that survived, you know, all this process that society has gone through. And they hold sadhanas, prayers, rituals to help humanity. All these spiritual paths, they are coming together on this time that we are living. And whoever wants to be healed honestly from their heart, to live a good life does not mean like to be a successful entrepreneur. No, to be, you know, a person that is happy to be in earth with everything that is around, you know. I believe that we will have the means for that. The only thing that you need an open mind, because nowadays even in the spiritual field, it's not because a person is wearing orange that he knows something. It's not because a person is old that he's like knowledgeable. No, it's about something more deep, you know. It's about a sincerity and a ability to, for us as human beings, to be equal to each other, you know. On this place spirituality can grow with a lot of force. And I believe that what we call a crisis, that is a crisis, and it will be terrible, like for society, the economic crisis and all the wars and everything that's happening, also help us to bring out as a human being the better version that we have inside of us, you know. It's on the crisis that the human being is able to flourish spiritually. So if we cannot, you know, change materially what is happening, at least we can use this moment, you know, to connect to each other. That's what I understand.
That's what is most important, connecting with each other, as you said, because nowadays the everyone is on the Facebook, everyone has a social friends, but in person, no connection with anybody, totally
Yeah.
missing, and that is leading to many medical problems, like you hear the news that the loneliness is the biggest epidemic which is going on. The depression is becoming very common. So all this is because that we are leaving direct heart to heart connection with each other, living that simple life. That's what is very important, as people like Swamiji, like you person who are spreading the knowledge of Vedanta, the Indian culture, which is basically focused, is very, very important. So you have been teaching and celebrating the balance between doing and being. So, how in today's world you give this message to the young that it is possible to make this balance in practical life, or you can tell them to do it practically?
What I try to convey is not only like in a Vedantic explanation, you know, but it's through action and through energy, like an energy of life that sometimes is understood through a song, you know, through a smile or through a gesture. So, for example, in Brazil, we have a project called Pequena Tribo that is, how we say, a counter shift school for young people that are living in very vulnerable places. Some of the students, they think that we are doing a very big charitable, action, but actually it's a very powerful healing tool. Because when you take a person, that is stressed out in the middle of, a very stressful life, and you tell, come and visit our chatralaya, just be with the kids for one day. They think they are doing something for the kids, but actually the kids will do for them, because the kids, they are just simple people
Yeah.
that are in very poor communities that don't have nothing, and sometimes with a lot of emotional stress problems from their homes, and when they interact, there is a human, how you say, connection that is unavoidable, and you just become light yourself. You want to take care of them. You want to, to be a better person, not for yourself only, but to live in this world in a better place for everybody, So I think the message for the youth is not just, an intellectual message, it's more like showing them, a different energy of living.
Yes. Very much. And the youth is the most important. They if they are guided properly, they can definitely follow it in a better way to and
Yes.
make the society and the world a better place to live with it.
Here in India now, just in the next 10 days, we are going to start what we call the Samba Shiva Utsava, like a festival that we give this name Samba Shiva. Samba stands for the Divine Mother, and Shiva, of course. But Samba also is the name of a Brazilian rhythm. So the idea is to go in the top tech universities of India and give a 3 hours event where we have music, interviews with successful Indian leaders globally, and some teachings to show them the value of spirituality for a successful person. So I think you would like to know that. So we are going to do this movement that is starting now. We are going to many universities like BITS Pilani, BHU,
Oh,
and they are all
nice.
very eager to that. And we have
Very
like a group, yeah, we have a group of singers and musicians that are coming from Brazil for the festival. It's a very beautiful project.
must be because that's what I said. Everybody feels that they are under stress, they are under pressure, and they want to relieve it. Just that they don't know how exactly to do it and what is the correct way which you are guiding. Uh, your journey has been a very important one, meeting of the two worlds, the Western and the Indian, which is known for this culture. So, this mindfulness, which is rooted in Indian philosophy, basically. So, what common ground do you find between Western psychology and Vedic wisdom? And how do you feel this integration create a global language of well-being? Can we do it?
There is always, nowadays, like a dispute between science and spirituality. But it should not be, because science is a field, spirituality is another field, and they are not disputing anything. Actually, if you use your intellect and your mind, that a scientist has very sharp, to work with spirituality, then you gain both. You don't need to, let's say, to be you don't need to give up a religion, to become a doctor. You can be a doctor really with your faith and your shraddha and your beliefs. And the same thing, whatever we understand about childhood, traumas, techniques to release emotions, this is all like useful for a spiritual pursuit. So we don't see both of them like colliding. We see them giving hands, for a better goal, a bigger thing that needs to happen. One thing that is very important in my perspective, is to understand that the spirituality of the planet is upheld by the indigenous traditions. In Bharata, like we have this big gift, from Ishvara, that we have this tradition that came from ancient times, and even nowadays is the culture of the country. But in Brazil, for example, the culture of the natives, it's not seen as the culture of the country. It's something that they are waking up for this reality right now. My master, Swami Dayananda Saraswati, he used to say that we have this moral obligation as Vedic seekers, to help all other indigenous cultures of the planet, because they are all telling the same truth, the same sense of oneness, understanding of oneness, and the basic human values, charity, love, compassion. All this is the base of a human being. And let's say, these ancient traditions, they have the tools to unlock these basic values in anyone. And these tools are available. It's not something for you to believe. It's like taking a pill. You don't need to believe on the pill. You just take it, see if it works. So all these practices are there. And if I'm having an anxiety problem, I'm having a depression problem, I'm having a burnout, whatever, understand that there are tools from, countless time available for people to become balanced again. So when we have this understanding, then we start to see that actually there is only one message. For the whole humanity, there is only one message. And this message is that you don't need anything outside yourself to be happy. You don't need your family to change. You don't need to have more money or this or that. You don't need any change outside. Because as a human being, the only thing that you need is nature, family, and health. Nothing else. If you have these three things, you are supposed to be a happy human being. And if you are not a happy human being with these three things, it means you have a spiritual problem and you have to cleanse it. I cannot say, I am let's say, I am a person that does not like to dance, does not like, to receive love. Hey, you are sick. If somebody says, I cannot dance, then you are a sick human being, because human beings dance. They sing, they laugh, they smile, they love, they exchange energy with each other. So nowadays we accept all this, imbalance as a normal thing, but it's not normal. We are lacking spirituality in our lives.
How does Brazilian people and the other Western people, when you talk all this, how do they respond to this Indian values or Vedanta values?
Well, sometimes they, of course, will make jokes, because it's a different culture. So they will say, "Oh, why this person is, in a bed sheet talking to us? Why does he has a feather on his head?" They are going to, see something different. But sometimes they don't realize, that the cloth that they are wearing is actually, a uniform from a colonizer. Because culture is not about being the same, it's about being real, and it's about freedom. And if you say that you have the freedom to wear whatever you want, why are you annoyed that I'm wearing something that's different than you? So instead of fighting them, I go with them. And then they start to realize, how narrow-minded sometimes we are. And they open up, like the youth, when you speak logically, they are very open. When we start to impose rules and, beliefs, then they don't want that. But freedom is in everyone's heart.
Any interesting experience you had with them, some movie or something which like you said, sometimes they joke around, sometimes they laugh. So, any special experience which you'd like to share with the audience?
Um, like nowadays, now we have a big following, but in the beginning it was just some few people, you know. And I was always the same, you know, wearing my dhoti, my feathers, and all that, you know. And what I see is that in the beginning they would say like this, teacher, I was hearing you, you know, and I was seeing your the way you were dressed and all that, and then this would create a lot of resistance in me. I would feel one more religious person coming, one more this. But then, you know, you would say a joke, and I would start to see that he's a nice guy, he's a cool guy, he's a guy like us, you know. Although he's dressed like that, he's a guy like us. So
Yes.
what I used to tell that's interesting, I always explain to them, don't put me on this pedestal of a guru, of a saint. No, just consider me a normal person, like you and like me, everyone the same and equal, and just see if what I'm saying makes sense. If what I'm telling saying is making sense, you put in the pocket, take with you. If it's not making sense, just leave it, you know. And what happened is that in the end, they are dressing like this.
That, I mean, that's your success. You are spreading the message and they're getting it. So that is the real thing. It's such interesting to talk, and I have so many questions, but of course, time is also limited. So I'd like to know or take message from you. What would you like to give message to the healers, doctors, healthcare workers? What message you will
So
if
this
they
is a
are
message.
demanding
Uh-huh.
schedules, what should they do?
So this is a message for the healers, and it's not an easy message, but it's coming from my heart, you know.
Yes,
If you want to heal somebody, to be an instrument for healing of somebody, understand that first you need to heal yourself. Because you're not there to, you know, to correct the symptom. You're not there to like to just extinguish a fire that is happening. You have to be the example of what you are trying to convey. This starts taking care of your body properly. The food that you take, the exercise that you do, you know. And it will go through your mind because, you know, what is the meaning, you know, behind it. If maybe all the psychiatrists they will take psychiatric drugs, you know, does not make sense. You're supposed to heal people if yourself you're not healed. This does not make sense. Nowadays, you know, even doctors, they are taking pills to sleep, pills to wake up. You're not supposed to do that. So take care of yourself before taking care of others. You should take care of yourself. And then you're not only going to be an instrument of healing, but you're going to be an instrument of life. People will enjoy your company. You're not going to heal just because you know the name of a medicine, you know. You're going to heal because of the person you are.
correct. Very, very. I mean, really, you said this is coming from your heart. This is the right message. And is there any, would you like to share any short mantra or a thought or something which can cultivate their inner calm? I mean, which they can remember and follow,
Uh-huh.
and by which they can start their journey of spiritual journey.
Mhm. I would like to share, you know, a truth of spirituality that took me a long time to understand. And maybe some of you that are listening to me right now does not have established spiritual pursuit, or maybe you don't just believe on all these things. And sometimes we create an attitude, we have an idea that if I see, I will believe, you know. If it's proven to me, I will believe, you know. But spirituality is a higher force. It does not work like that. It does not need to prove anything to you. So just try the opposite. Because I understood that only those who believe that really can see. And not the belief does not come later. So if you have this doubt in your heart about how to start your religious pursuit, spiritual pursuit, just go deep on your truth inside your heart. Connect yourself to the goddess, to God, whatever name you have, and ask honestly for help and see what happens for yourself. Don't take my words for granted.
I believe in you. I really feel this, that's the right way, that once you have that belief, it will be manifested. That's the message which you have very rightly given to the young. I think for all it is youngsters, healers, doctors, visitors, everyone. I would wish to talk more and more, but the thing is this, we have to, the time is limited, I would say again. So, Swamiji, I would say your words have really reminded us that peace is not the absence of work. It is the presence of awareness, self-awareness. You have shown us that stress cannot coexist with success, and because the true success begins when the mind is quiet and the heart is clear, as innocently you said, the children are innocent. So, with this, I would say on behalf of Foxy, I'd like to thank you deeply for sharing your wisdom, your journey, your light. I told you our president is also very spiritual, and she love this podcast, I'm sure. So, with the heartfelt gratitude to your knowledge, your wisdom, and my also to my president, whose vision is being given to broaden the Foxy's platform and the from the operation theater to the inner theater of the mind, I would say, where she is. This is very, very important. So I'd like to end with the say, when the wisdom meets compassion, healing becomes whole. When leadership meets vision, care gains its soul. With Swamiji, your word, and Dr. Sunita's grace, I'm thinking our federation will move forward at a mindful place with peace and with happiness, which you have emphasized. So, to all my listeners, I'm sure this conversation will help you going through, or you can start your spiritual journey. You can understand it that calm is your true power, and you have to look inside yourself, as our Swamiji has said, and the peace is your success. So, that is the message which you have received, and I'm sure all the audience will be benefited. Thank you, Swamiji. It was really nice to interact with you, and it's very nice that you are starting a new mission, going to the different universities, and definitely they will be benefit. They will be very lucky ones. We are having 1 hour, they will have 3 hours. बहुत
Thank you
बहुत
very much,
धन्यवाद.
Dr. Kiranji. It was a pleasure to be here, to be
Thank you
talking.
so much.
Very nice to
I,
meet
I,
you.
I really missed meeting you physically. This is my loss, I would say. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank
Namaskar.
you.